In this video, we'll look at the basic mistakes players make when building formations and show you how to improve them, so you can win against opponents who have the same troops simply by using better strategic knowledge. These are two identical formations, set up the way many new players do before they learn proper strategy. Let's step-by-step improve common mistakes in this formation to increase its competitiveness and performance. Mistake 1. Using ranged troops in the front row. A typical rookie mistake is placing fragile ranged units in the front row, where they are quickly eliminated. Let's put melee tanks and support units there instead and see the result. Mistake 2 and 3. Wrong back row placement. Another mistake is leaving ranged units in the back row without protection from assassin units, while misplacing support units in the middle where they are less effective. So let's use Goblikaze for direct counter and damage to Flash Angels, Magnetic Pioneer for stopping them and pulling them in one place, and Straw Kids for sustained damage and protection. Pirate Ship is also a good option for back row protection and elimination of threats. As you can see in the end, our formation won with a bigger advantage. Mistake 4 and 5. Failing to use untargetable units to cluster enemy melee troops in one spot for concentrated damage. Let's place Flash Angels and Magic Apprentices so more enemy troops will target the middle of the first row, where more tanks and control units are located. Placing mid-range retreating units like Peltasts too far back prevents them from engaging at the right time. At the same time, we adjust some of the troops so that more melee and support units are in the frontal row in the middle, while ranged units are further back. As you can see, the victory is even easier with 110 troops left. Other improvements. We place troops like Voodoo Dolls, Undead Soldiers, Brawlers, and others closer to enemy lines so they can engage farther and have better effects, which at the same time makes ranged units more protected from both sides. In the end, this adjustment produced far better results, with nearly half of our army surviving against an opponent using identical units. There are typical mistakes when players use the wrong combination of troops or use troops that are not effective against certain heroes. Let's see some examples. 1. Using single load, high area damage troops against Davison. Troops like Ballista, Catapult, and Priest Mage will destroy themselves due to the heavy damage reflection from Davison's skill. Look at this vivid example where our troops do not receive direct damage from enemy attacks, yet are eliminated by the return from their combined area damage. 2. Using too many single-load troops against formations that have many Voodoo Dolls. When you try to counter armies that have a quantity advantage of Voodoo Dolls with single-load high-output units, tanks, or support, similar to the Davison example, your army dies fast due to the Voodoo Doll curse, which returns damage to the target and does huge damage upon death. See how it works. Even with more units deployed, the opponent won quickly, despite our army including durable single-load tanks like Stone Golem. In both cases of Voodoo and Davison, use any 9-load troops instead to create the proper quantity advantage. 3. Getting your jumper-type troops into a trap. Units such as Orc Hunters and Straw Kids can fall into traps from Goblikaze, Pirate Ship, and Magnetic Pioneer. If you use many, they die in vain. On the contrary, if you replace them with normal movement troops and use only one of them, it will serve as a trigger unit, deactivating such a threat for the rest of the troops. Let's summarize what we've learned. When building offensive formations, avoid these common mistakes, putting ranged troops in the front row instead of tanks and support, leaving your back row unprotected against assassins, misusing untargetable units and misplacing mid-range troops, choosing the wrong troop types against heroes like Davison or Voodoo Doll armies, allowing your jumper units to fall into traps. Avoiding these common mistakes will make your formation much stronger and a big step closer to top-tier championship play. By thinking strategically as we've shown, you'll discover even more tactics and learn to avoid additional pitfalls, bringing you closer to true art of war mastery. Good luck, Commanders!